Imagine this, a nation that lit its streets with electricity when much of the world was still in darkness. A nation where factories thundered day and night, where machines, chemicals, and steel seemed to promise an unstoppable future. Germany, at the dawn of the 20th century, looked like the land of tomorrow. But here's the twist. This same future carried a shadow so dark, it would soon drag the entire world into the bloodiest war humanity had ever seen. So, how did Germany's success story turn into the nightmare of 1914? Who was responsible? And why did Europe, at the peak of progress, explode into war? Let's unravel the story before we dive deeper. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you never miss more stories like this one. The journey begins in 1871, inside the glittering Palace of Versailles. It was there, amid chandeliers and marble halls, that Germany was officially born. For centuries, the German lands had been a patchwork of kingdoms and duchies, but now, thanks largely to the victories of Prussia and its Iron Chancellor Otto von Bismarck, dozens of states were united into one powerful empire. Overnight, Europe had a new heavyweight, and Germany wasted no time in flexing its strength. Railways spread like veins across the land, linking cities into one giant industrial body. Berlin became a beacon of modernist streets, glowing with electric light, while Siemens powered the grids. Bayer invented medicines that promised longer life, Krupp forged steel cannons that symbolized both progress and menace. And cities like Essen and Dortmund roared with factories. By 1900, Germans truly believed they had claimed their place in the sun. But the brighter the light, the darker the shadow it cast. Germany looked strong, but inside it was far more fragile than it appeared. The empire contained 25 different states, each with its own traditions and loyalties. Prussia dominated, but Bavaria, Saxony, and Württemberg held on fiercely to their local identities. The north was Protestant, the south Catholic. Modern cities embraced capitalism, while much of the countryside still lagged behind, rooted in old ways of farming. This fractured identity would always haunt the young empire. The divides weren't just cultural, they were social too. Industrialization pulled millions from farms into smoky factory towns. The middle class lived in bright city apartments, while workers were crammed into dark, airless slums. The contrast between rich and poor was growing sharper by the day. Workers, fed up with long hours and low pay, began to unite under the banner of socialism. And as they gathered, the ruling elite grew nervous. For the first 2 decades, Chancellor Bismarck held the empire together with a careful balance of force and cunning. His mission was simple: protect Prussian dominance and centralize power. But uniting Germany wasn't easy. The Catholic states resisted, so he launched the cult of struggle against the Catholic Church. Ironically, it backfired, making Catholics even more politically united and strengthening the Centre Party. Meanwhile, socialism surged. The Social Democratic Party, founded in 1875, grew rapidly among workers. Bismarck tried to crush it with repressive laws, but every attempt only made it stronger. The Reichstag, Germany's parliament, gave an appearance of democracy, but real power sat with the Kaiser and the Junkers, the aristocrats of Eastern Prussia. These Junkers were once medieval nobles, but by the 19th century, they were vast landowners, cultivating rye and ruling over peasants. More than just farmers, they were Germany's political backbone, filling the highest government posts, dominating the army's officer corps, and shaping the empire with their values of discipline, loyalty, and conservatism. Even as factories and cities grew louder, the Junkers' grip on power never loosened. And then came the Kaiser. In 1888, at just 29 years old, Wilhelm II became emperor in what was known as the Year of the Three Emperors. Young, ambitious, and deeply insecure, Wilhelm was a man of contradictions. Born with a withered left arm, he grew up obsessed with proving his strength. He admired Napoleon one day and tried to imitate his English relatives the next. His moods swung wildly, and his insecurities often turned into reckless ambition. Raised by his English mother, he grew up resenting Britain, the very nation he was compared to. Wilhelm's foreign policy was nothing like Bismarck's cautious chess game. For him, politics was theater. In 1890, he dismissed Bismarck, the empire's architect, and announced a new vision: Weltpolitik, world policy. Germany, he declared, deserved a place in the sun. It was a bold statement that would make enemies everywhere. By the turn of the century, Germany had become an industrial rocket. Its railways expanded to over 60,000 kilometers, connecting every corner of the empire. The Zollverein Customs Union unified trade, while Deutsche Bank and Dresdner Bank financed ambitious ventures not just at home but abroad in South America, China, and the Ottoman Empire. Siemens and AEG electrified cities. Bayer created aspirin. BASF and Hoechst dominated the chemical world. Carl Benz and Daimler put cars on the road, and Krupp and Thyssen made Germany the steel giant of Europe. Around the world, the label "Made in Germany" became a mark of excellence. But prosperity carried a cost. Germany's population exploded from 41 million in 1871 to 67 million by 1914. Cities swelled, tenements overflowed, and class tensions sharpened. Workers faced grueling hours, low wages, and unsafe housing. Strikes spread, unions gained strength, and the Social Democrats kept winning votes. But the Kaiser's Germany was still far from democratic. Political power was locked in the hands of the elite, while ordinary Germans, despite their growing voices, were largely powerless. Germany was modern in industry but old-fashioned in politics, contradiction that couldn't last forever. At the core of the empire's identity was the army. Germany had been born in war, and militarism became part of everyday life. Every young man served, every city celebrated parades, and schools taught loyalty to the flag. The military wasn't just defense, it was culture. Under Bismarck, it had been a disciplined force. Under Wilhelm, it became a tool of prestige and expansion. The German General Staff, Europe's most professional military planning body, produced leaders like von Moltke and Falkenhayn. They revolutionized tactics, training, and technology perfecting. Machine guns, gas masks, and heavy artillery. Railways were built not just for commerce, but to move soldiers at lightning speed. It was an army built for efficiency, but also one dangerously rigid, with little room for flexibility. The greatest symbol of this rigidity was the Schlieffen Plan. Germany feared war on two fronts: France in the west, Russia in the east. Alfred von Schlieffen's solution was a lightning strike: sweep through neutral Belgium, encircle Paris, crush France quickly, then turn east to face Russia. It was bold, precise, and utterly unforgiving of mistakes. Schlieffen's last words were, "Strengthen the right wing." His obsession with ensuring the massive flanking maneuver succeeded. But war, as history would prove, never follows the script. Meanwhile, another race was unfolding, not on land, but at sea. Starting in 1898, Admiral Tirpitz launched Germany's naval laws to build a fleet capable of rivaling Britain's Royal Navy. What followed was an arms race. Britain responded with the revolutionary HMS Dreadnought, and Germany countered with ships of its own. For Britain, the sea was survival. It could never allow a challenger, and so Germany's naval ambitions pushed Britain into closer friendship with France and Russia. By 1907, the Triple Entente had formed, diplomatically encircling Germany. By 1914, Germany stood at the peak of its power. It was Europe's leading industrial nation, second only to the United States globally. Its factories outproduced rivals, its science led the world, its army was admired, and its ambitions stretched far beyond Europe. Yet the very strength that made Germany rise also made it feared. Britain felt threatened at sea. France dreamed of revenge for its lost territories. Russia opposed German expansion in the east. Tensions tightened, alliances hardened, and Europe became a powder keg. All it needed was a spark. Germany's dazzling rise was also its fatal trap. In chasing a place in the sun, it cast shadows. Across Europe, when the guns finally thundered in 1914, the world was dragged into a war unlike any before, one that would bury empires, redraw maps, and change humanity forever. And before we close, don't forget subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you'll always be the first to catch our next deep dive into history's turning points.